what was the change or the transition that made you say, you know what, I need to do something different in my life, or I am, what is my purpose here? I am here for a purpose. When did that happen? All right, what's going on, you guys? Big Bob here. So, as you can see, the scenery's different. We're in my hometown of Victorville, California. We did a Rufios interview, and he wanted to come back up and just add some stuff to it. So here we are. Thank you, bro, for coming up. And so one of the questions you wanted to answer or add to was, what was the change in going from living the fast life, no breaks, not wanting to live long, to when you died, you died? What was the change that transpired that made you say, hey, you know what, there's more to life than living on the road?
You know, I think for a lot of people, and I think people can understand that, like, nothing, especially with our life journeys, is like a straight line. There's nothing linear. You know, I've had setbacks, and I've always known what I wanted, just didn't know how to have it. There are times when I said to myself, like, you know, I'm just looking for a reason to put my kickstand down and, like, settle down. And when I found Lizzie, my old lady, you know, I was like, this is what I want. But I found myself, like, still having the same issues. I was still stuck in the same kind of rut. I tried going back to school, and then I took some more time off again. And then me and Lizzie were like, you know, she was really encouraging me to get back into school because, you know, I needed to refine my focus and figure out, you know, how to get back on 2 feet. Part of that was getting an education because of my disability kind of limited my options. So I had planned on going back to school, but before we were going to take this big trip from LA to New York. We were on the road for 4 months. It was amazing. Went everywhere. I think we only got 3 hotels in the span of that time.
Wow.
We camped out everywhere. I mean, nearly died in the Grand Tetons. Nearly died at some sketchy ass places just because they were sketchy as hell. And then on the way back, we came back from New York. I had my nieces are both close in age, and they were having like a dual quinceañera, and it was like a nice way to end the trip. And I had to be back for school, so it was good. So I was hauling ass, and eventually when I got to El Paso, you know, it was a great time. We had the quinceañera, spending time with my family. And the day we're literally like packing up to leave, we get a call from the police that my brother has a thing going on. And I'm real ashamed to admit that I was like real pissed off and annoyed by it. I was just like, what the fuck is it now? I'm like, God damn it, like we're about to leave. So I was like, okay, Mom, well, I'll go with you. So we go over to his house, and he's pretty much having like a mental health crisis. And the police are trying to talk him down. Yeah, he's in there with a gun. He didn't even own a gun. He actually, it was his lady's gun. She had it because she had an abusive ex, and he knew where it was. He knew how to use it, obviously. And then I was out there with my mom and thinking, like, you know, my brother, he's just fucking, he's upset. Like, everything's going to be okay, Mom. I'm trying to reassure her. I was actually kind of like, didn't think it was real. And then I was outside, and I was trying to talk to my brother, and the cops got pissed off at me for fucking trying to talk to him. You know, typical like cop shit where they fucking get in your face over some bullshit, when obviously the safety of my brother is more important to me. And I think I might know a little bit more about my brother, who was like a father to me. You know, my dad was abusive, and my mom left him when I was a kid. And my older brother's 11 years older than me, so he was the man in the house when by the time he was like 16, he raised all me and my brother and sisters. Wow. Like, he was like a dad to me. I always confided in him. I always spoke to him about everything, and he was there for me when I was in service and I was going through similar mental health issues. He was one of the only people I ever talked about it. You know, but he was like a lot of us who just he didn't know how to communicate what he was going through. And I was there with my mom, and we heard a gunshot, and we knew it was him. And I always tell people, like, you know, I've heard a lot of horrible things in my life. Nothing will ever compare to the sound of a mother crying for their dead child. It's terrifying, and it haunts me this day. Understandably, you know, my brother was like the dad, so he was always the one who took charge. I was the youngest, so I kind of always got away with just fucking off and doing my own thing, and I had to step up and be there for my family in a way that I never had the space for, to be honest. Like, you know, I was still that punk kid to the day I was still in my 30s, and my family's having trouble gathering the stuff together to do his last wishes and get everything together. So I ended up putting together his funeral, and I cremated him on a Saturday, and I had class on Monday. I went back to school with like a new drive and ambition that I didn't have before. So it recalibrated my drive, and that semester I had a 4.0. I got straight A's. Awesome. And I kept up the grades, and that's what allowed me to be able to even transfer in a university like UCLA. It's the #1 university in the country for what I went to school for. And coming from a podunk little town in Texas, like, I just wasn't equipped with the skills, but the Marine Corps at least taught me that drive. I don't want to be somebody who needs somebody to die for me to do the right thing. I'm severely disabled and crippled by ultimately what feel like, in whether it be circumstance or not, my decisions. I feel pain every fucking step I take, and it's a reminder of the decisions that I made throughout my life.
Would you say you're crippled physically and mentally?
Oh, well, like, yeah, no, I totally am advocate for the disabled community. Like, I have neurological issues because of my brain injury when I was in service, cracked my fucking dome. So I have a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and also through the accidents, I guarantee it affected my behavior, my decision making. Affected, I had a speech impediment for a while, which made it really hard to get up and speak in front of, like, going to school and learning that stuff, and to be able to read books terrified me because I had trouble keeping a straight line, but I had to work past all that shit because I had a goal that was, I needed to get to a point so I could take care of her. And for me, that was going to school, because I worked in aviation when I was in the Marine Corps, and I did some time ground side, but for the most part, that was my, I was a helicopter electrician, and I had to double down on, well, I need to go to school then, because if I can't work on aircraft anymore, it's the only real skill that I had before. I was like, I need to be able to do something. And I was grateful that when I went to school, I went to community college here in the Valley. I went to LA Valley College, and I met a professor who was a Chicano who fucking challenged me because he saw something in me that, you know, only an old Marine would see. He was like, this is a young man who fucking needs a direction. He gave me a fucking direction. I took his challenge, and I'm incredibly indebted to that man for fucking putting me on a path that ultimately led to where I was. You know, I graduated with honors from UCLA. I was able to transfer and go to one of the best universities in the country. And I come from a small podunk fucking school in the middle of nowhere. Like I was telling you, I can't even remember if I read one full book when I was in high school. That's just the education I had. And to go there to this institution, it took a lot of work. I was staying late in the fucking, and I was homeless at the time, so I would stay at the library and be there till it closed, and because I had nowhere else to go. So I was like, I'm gonna sit here and read the book, because I couldn't afford to buy them, so I read the books that were in the library. I'd stay there as long as I could, and then I'd fucking go sleep in my truck at the end of the night. And that level of dedication is something that I think I learned in the Marines, and I just learned how to reapply it in life, because after the Marine Corps, I was like, anything after that, by comparison, and nothing's hard compared to that. Like, you've been through worse, motherfucker. You can get through this.
sadness I can't shake.